The days are still getting shorter, and that means the nights are getting longer. So in this video, I wanted to talk about lights, different ways to mount them on your bike, as well as lights that we've used in the past and lights that we currently use now. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you love bikes, bike commuting, gravel bikes, the supple life, you have found your people, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Since the nights are so long, I've been getting a ton of questions about lights, so I thought I would address that. Before going into the specific light themselves, I'm going to talk about another important aspect, and that is how to mount the light to your bike. Sure, most bikes, front lights in particular, come with kind of a swiveling clamp here that's meant to mount on your handlebars. But what if you're running a rando bag, some kind of other handlebar bag that obstructs the view? What options do you have to mount a front light? First way that we've probably been using the longest is the Paul Geno mount. A really simple CNC piece of aluminum that mounts to an eyelet on your fork. Interestingly, we got a chance to actually interview the Geno on which the Geno mount was based upon. So if you want to hear from Geno himself and how that whole process came about, check out the card above or above. The other two solutions are from the brand Problem Solvers. The first one is their just standard light mount, which works pretty similarly to the Geno mount, but has a couple of interesting tricks up its sleeve. It comes with a couple sets of bolts and a lot of parts actually. And what they do basically is let you adjust the standoff of the light mount from your bike. So let's say you have a bike and the brazon is really thick, or it's competing with a quick release, or just some other thing is obstructing a good fit for your light. You can actually flip things around inside the light mount to adjust the standoff to better optimize the positioning of your light. The other cool light mount from Problem Solvers is their quick release light mount, which is so simple but actually super functional. But you do need a bike that still uses quick releases. Remember those? Basically, it looks like a peg, although in very clear language it says not a bike peg, and it simply replaces the nut part of your quick release. So it works on basically any bike with a quick release. You just remove that nut and use this in its place. Super easy to use, super functional. It does put the light a lot lower on the ground, which can be good and bad. Definitely a lot more spill on the ground to kind of illuminate the debris and the road surface itself. So pretty cool. There are options. So the lights I'm using personally are currently two lights from Blackburn. One is their Countdown 1600 front light, which is pretty neat. It has the aesthetics of an 80s VCR remote control. Good output, nice and solid mount. But its biggest value proposition is you can actually see how much light you have left at various settings. So this is the Blitz mode, which is super bright, 48 minutes, and in the medium mode, just under 2 hours. It's got a strobe mode, pulsing mode, and low mode. So I really like this light because you no longer have to guess how much juice you have. You're not relying on some colored LED or some kind of really crude 4-bar status indicator. It tells you exactly to the minute how much light you have at the various settings. A light that's similar to that we've used in the past is the Exposure Toro. This one, both these have a solid metal construction. This one feels like just a herky flashlight. The indicator here is a little less refined, I would say. The readout is from the back and not the top, so if you have it mounted lower and not on your handlebar, it's kind of hard to see. Button's pretty tactile. It does come with a proprietary charger, which is kind of a pain in the butt because it's easy to misplace. Whereas this one uses your standard USB, mini USB to charge it. Also, this one is kind of nose-bleedingly expensive at almost $400. But for that, you do get solid construction, and I think the stated output is around 2600 lumens, whereas this one is only 1600 lumens. But you don't have to spend that much money. Another light that I use on our commuter bikes is the Seagull light Metro. Far more affordable, not as bright, but I've used variations of this light over the decade I've been commuting. And if you're riding in the city where there is some kind of ambient light and you don't need it as your pure source of illumination, this does a pretty good job. So for the rear light, the current rear light I'm using is the Blackburn Twofer. This is so called because not only does it function as a rear light, but you can also use it in a pinch as a front light, flashlight at camp, whatever. Again, metal construction, charges via USB. It mounts to your seat posts via a silicone strap, but one nice thing about it is it still has a metal clip, super functional, so you can put this on a backpack, or if this happens to break, you can get creative and mount this to your rack somehow or off of a pannier. So I do appreciate rear lights that have a auxiliary clip mechanism of some sort, because in my experience, these silicone straps tend to break. Other lights I've used in the past, the Planet Bike Super Flash is a great standard, not super expensive. I also like the PDW Danger Zone. I've also had good luck with the Light in Motion Viz 180. I felt like I had great illumination. One thing I didn't like about it is that I broke a couple of silicone straps. For better or for worse, this is the de facto rear light mounting standard of choice. Not a fan of the silicone strap, so stoked when a light has a alternative clip method. Because if this breaks on tour, you can at least like jury rig something for the clip. And just a quick note, with all these lights, I've found them to be fairly weather resistant. None of these lights have crapped out for me in the rain or the snow. I don't know if they're like submersible or resistant, so don't quote me on that. But in general, like riding conditions, riding in rainy climates like Portland, Seattle, snowy climates like here in Missoula, work pretty good. And lastly, I'm not gonna recommend this just yet. I'm just gonna let you know of its existence, is this Rayo, what they're calling the ultimate bike tail light. This literally came in via FedEx like 5 minutes ago. And what makes this light special is that, let's see, enhanced visibility. It's got a smart brake light, so there's an accelerometer in there, which will alter the light in some way when you're slowing or stopping, so it might make it flash or get brighter. Don't know yet, just came in. You can connect it to an app if you want to do that, and it's got a theft alert. I'm not quite sure how it accomplishes that, but we're gonna find out. Again, this is the Rayo Ultimate Bicycle Taillight. If you want to see what I think of this, how it performs, what it does exactly that makes it the ultimate bicycle taillight, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna put this through its paces in the next couple weeks. So these are the lights I use. What are your favorite bike lights? What did I miss out? Let me know in the comments below, and if you guys have any other questions, be sure to leave those in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them. And if you appreciate content like this, consider supporting the channel via the PayPal and Patreon links. And until next time, keep the supple side down.